Oh,
Yeah. Now your screen is visible.
physical, right?
Yeah,
My voice
right.
is also clear, right, sir?
Yeah, clear. Yeah, clear.
Okay, let's start. So I am going to discuss with all of you about two different things. One is Webpack, which is a module bundler tool actually. And second thing is a micro front-end architecture, which is very famous and nowadays very heavily used. Uh, Before that, Ashutosh, is this recording started or you want to start it now?
Yeah, recording is started. Already started.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so guys, we will start with the agenda actually. I have very clear-cut agenda and I have limited time so that I am trying to explain and I want to make this session very interactive and uh, it should be up to for your use, whichever project you are working on or in the future also you can work on. So we will talk about the problem statement first of all. So this is the agenda I'm just trying to tell you. After that, we'll see what is Webpack tool, what is Webpack module bundler tool. Then we'll discuss about the micro front-end architecture. We'll talk about the Webpack configuration file. I will show you Webpack configuration file. I will also show you the real code. I will show you the running code. Two different micro front-ends running on different ports. You can see, you can enjoy that. They are really working with each other, collaboration with each other. And there are loaders and plugins in the Webpack tool, which I will be explaining you. What is the role, responsibilities, why we need loaders, why we need plugins, all that stuff. Again, sample example of micro front-end code, which I told you. Then I will tell you basics about the optimization, performance, buildings and minifications of the code like CSS minification, JavaScript minification, optimization of images, etc. So I will talk about that. I will explain the benefits of this Webpack in terms of these features. As I said, I will show you the working example, working configuration file, working micro front end for you, working remote also. Okay. So I will also explain you and tell you, show you the integration with the React JS. However, it can integrate with Webpack can integrate with React JS, Vue.js, AngularJS, or plain JS also, plain JavaScript, any vanilla JavaScript also. It integrates any JavaScript framework in his code, optimize it, minify it, do whatever you want, like, okay. And then I will tell you what are the challenges in implementing micro frontend because it's not that straightforward, not that difficult also, but it is not that very straightforward. Like we write the code, we execute that and all that stuff. There are some problems while building the code, while deploying the code. Because when we talk about the micro frontend, obviously there are more than one servers involved. So obviously there will be some challenges we will be encountering. So I will talk about that only. So let's dive into it. The first agenda is the problem statement. So what is the problem statement? Pure TypeScript code is not understood by browser. Whatever TypeScript code we write or the React code we write, JSX code. JSX you all may be knowing, JavaScript XML. Whatever we write, it is not understood by browser. Then how it works on browser? TypeScript code executes on browser. We know that. But how? Like, is it directly runs on that or somebody is there in the man in the middle? So the expectation for the browser is it needs plain vanilla JavaScript in order to run, and it will be going to be forever because JavaScript cannot run pure TypeScript code and they don't have any kind of future plans also. Second thing is while working with style sheets, uh, developers want to work with SCSS, SAS, LACE, and all these new advanced architecture and advanced programming languages to write the style sheet because they have so many different features inbuilt, like mixins, their variables are there. So many advanced features you can inherit, you can reuse, you can use the variable in different files, you can include the files. Means it is kind of like a programming language. But the problem is browser don't know what is SCSS. Like if you write the code and try to run in browser, it will not understand. So still people are using it. So how they are using it? There is some transpiler. Okay, there is some parser which makes this code, SCSS code, converts it into browser understandable code, like CSS or plain JavaScript, which I am talking about. So that is what we are going to talk in this session actually. So images are by default not compressed. Your image is 500 KB, 1 MB, 2 MB, whatever. It will by default, if you want to use it by default by the HTTP link, or you put it on any S3 bucket or anywhere, it will display 500 KB. It will download that 500 KB unless it is not in cache. These are just the problem statements. Okay. As I said, React.js code, whichever we write in the component or anywhere, it will not be understood by a browser. So what magic is happening actually when you write React.js code, how it works, how it is you can see on the browser, on any port, or on the servers, on any EC2 instance or S3 bucket. So there is a Babel plugin, Babel transpiler, which converts the code to this one, browser understandable code in the plain JavaScript. So we can use Babel also in the Webpack. So developers like to write TypeScript, React, and SCSS code because it has advanced features, simple to write, simple to understand, and to leverage the use of single page applications. So you all know what is single page applications. Browser doesn't reload. Everything is on the client side without reloading, and it is super fast. And nowadays, everybody, mostly people want to work with single page applications like AngularJS, Vue.js, and React.js, these kind of technologies. So let's dive into the next part. What is Webpack now? So guys, one thing I want to tell you in advance, actually, I have some quizzes. Okay. So as soon as the session is completed, the quiz will pop up in the screen. So I'm expecting your answer there. So try to focus what I'm explaining because it should be a fruitful session for you. I just don't want you to spend some time and go with empty hands. And I will tell you that you will be very happy if you focus today because Webpack is nothing but a miracle in today's era. Actually, you can do many things using Webpack. It's very simple. You just need to understand how the configuration works. That's it. So I wanted to tell you about the quiz. So let's talk about the Webpack. Okay. So Webpack is a popular open source module bundler for JavaScript applications. So module bundler means what? Whatever React code is there in the index.js, it goes and then it goes to SRC, then components. So many things are there. So what Webpack does is it iterates through the dependency graph. The dependency graph means index.js, it lands on first of all, and then it checks how many other components are connected and how many components it want actually. So it receives all those and create a bundle after transpiling it. It does not directly make a bundle. It will transpile. So I will tell you everything. Don't worry. I will show you the sample transpiled code also. Just stay tuned, stay focused. Look at my screen, listen to me. If you have any questions, I will give you time also. Don't worry at all. It is also primarily used for bundling and packaging front-end JavaScript module. So packaging is again, giving it. So that's why the name is Webpack. Okay. And it can handle assets such as CSS, images, and fonts, except the JavaScript and TypeScript code. Actually, it is very powerful. You will understand. But since the time is limited, I will tell you important use cases only so that you can apply in your real life, in your projects also. And it's while developing micro front end, it is the one of the important tool which you need to use Webpack. Okay. There are some other tools also, but this is very popular actually. And very simply, we can implement the micro front ends. So before Webpack, this section will tell you what used to happen before Webpack. So before Webpack, if you remember, we used to write the manual script tags and we used to manually import or include the JavaScript files, right? If there are 10 JavaScript files, we used to write src script equal to something .js, right? And if in the next step after that, if let's say there are 10 JavaScript files and user wants to bundle or have only one JavaScript file, we used to use the tools like Grunt and Gulp, which are the task runners. So these are different than the Webpack. It has different use cases, but they are also very useful. Grunt and Gulp. So we can do many things using Grunt and Gulp, but we are not supposed to talk about that right now. And dependency management libraries, like some files you need and you need to manually by lazy loading or something, you need to load it, import it, right? We are supposed to do the server side rendering also, like pre-render HTML on the server. Like what Next.js does is the same way. Like what Next.js does is it does the server side rendering and keep the files on some folder on the on the server. So this is the old representation, the traditional web apps. I'm showing you the browser here. If you see, this is the browser. There are 4 files: a.js, b.js, c.js, d.js. So all the files are loaded separately, one by one. And there are 4 HTTP requests will go in this scenario actually. But this is a bundleless representation. That's why 4 requests will go: a.js, b.js, c.js. So four requests. Okay. And then what is the miracle happened after Webpack? What is going to happen? I will show you. There are 10 files, let's say. So if you provide to Webpack, you do some configuration in 2-3 minutes, it will bundle, it will package it and give you some bundle file. It can be bundle.js, sam.js, infogain.js, or anything, whatever you want. That all configuration is there, and you need to only include this bundle.js. That's it. Rest everything it is going to take care of. Like whatever CSS are there, whatever images are there, whatever fonts are there included in your JS files, it will automatically connect that and it will display on the browser. So the biggest thing is the miracle is only one file is prepared using Webpack. One file, when I say one type of one file, means if there are 10 JavaScript file, it will bundle and give you only one JavaScript file. Means it can give you can also have two JavaScript files also. Like whatever number of outputs you want, you can create those many number of outputs. So you will understand everything now after these slides. Uh, there are 10 CSS files. You will get one CSS file as output. So this miracle actually Webpack does, and everything linking, interconnection, everything Webpack internally does and give it in one folder called as dist by default. Okay. So whatever file it prepares, it can be minified. There is a configuration for minification also, which is generally used in the production environments. By default, the default environment is development in Webpack. If you do not provide the mode, it will consider it as a development mode. But you can minify, you can not minify. It is your wish only. So this is how world changed after Webpack. So this kind of files is provided to Webpack configuration bundle, and it will give you only different file, one type of file, one file only. So .js, .css, .jpg, .png, whatever number of, but this can be more. JPG, PNG can be more. JS, CSS can be one only. So, the biggest advantage is only one HTTP request will go. You can put it anywhere because it's a static file, right? It doesn't need any kind of engine. You just need to load it in the browser and it will work, right? I hope you are with me and you are understanding what is the problem statement, what Webpack does, and how it is going to do. I will explain you shortly. So what Webpack can do the module bundling. As I said, it will create 10 out of one file only. You give it 10, 15, 20, 2, 3, however number of files. It will minify and give you only one file, and that is also runnable file. You can do the code splitting and you can do the lazy loading also. When I say code splitting, that means you can have a different modules into different files and you can load it as per the demand. So you have to write that logic in your code, but you can do the code splitting and have a modular also, your structure modular also. Loaders, there are various loaders in your Webpack tool actually. So many loaders, you need them. Without loaders, you cannot execute your React.js or your latest code actually. So I will show you what are loaders and how they are configured. And it is just a one line, don't worry. It's just a one line configuration. Okay. So there are plugins also for like define plugin is there, environment plugin is there, code minifications. There are so many plugins actually, and you don't need to do any by heart these all plugins. You just need to read whenever you require anything. You just read and include them. That's it. You can create a development server also the same way. Whenever you run the React.js, you run the AngularJS, there is a hot module, right? Whenever you change anything in the code, it updates the server, right? So the same way you can mimic that for your JavaScript code also. Plain vanilla JavaScript I am talking about. So many people think that this is the inbuilt feature in the React.js or Vue.js, but they are very smart people. They make use of such tools and they make their code so much reusable that we developer, fall in love with such technologies, but you can prepare same, usability using this Webpack also for the plain vanilla JavaScript. Asset management, I already said, images, fonts, and all that static files, it can give you in one bundle, which you can use anywhere in the production staging or any kind of environment. It can also optimize your code like minify, and you might have heard about the tree shaking. If not, I will tell you in very quickly actually. Tree shaking means what? When tree shakes, actually there are some unused leaves which are kind of dead. They fall from the tree to the ground, right? So the same way, if there is any code written in your whole application, let's say there are 200 files, but for some reason, if let's say two files are not included or they are not used or not referenced in your application anywhere. So what this smart tool will do is it will remove those two files while making the bundle. So what is the output? It will only get 198 files out of 200 because it knows that these two files are not used anywhere. So this is called as tree shaking. This is very important concept actually. So it will make sure to lower down the bundle size and all. Obviously, configuration is the heart of Webpack. You must understand what is the configuration. It is very simple for the developer like us. Most of you might be knowing also, but stay with me. You might be getting something new in this class actually. So that's why. And asset optimization, JavaScript, CSS, all it can optimize. Like images can be compressed. You can convert the images to WebP format, which is more optimized for the web type of interfaces. You can optimize the fonts, JavaScript, CSS. It will give you small size files actually. Okay. I already told about this hot module replacement. And yeah, this is very, very important. Multiple environments. So as a developer, we always have a need for having different environments like dev environment, staging environment, production environment, or whatever number of requirements we need for development, like to put the code and test. So Webpack internally provides you three different environment: development, test, and production. So you can leverage that inbuilt things also. Okay. You can obviously integrate your Webpack with the CSS preprocessor. So what is preprocessor? This word is quite different, but you all might have heard about SAS, SCSS, LESS, and all these libraries by using which you can write the nested rules. You can write different variables, mixins, inheritance. So many advanced features you can use in the CSS, which is not possible in the plain vanilla CSS which we used to write earlier. So this is the advanced technique, but there are two things. Advanced techniques is not understood by browser. Old technique is understood by browser. So what we need, somebody to transpile this advanced technique to old code, right? So it is where Webpack comes into picture actually. Okay, so the beauty is this Webpack integrates with different frameworks and libraries like React.js, AngularJS, Vue.js, and plain JavaScript also. You can have one micro front end, two people working on React.js, three people working on AngularJS, one person working on Vue.js, and one person working on plain JavaScript. You can combine everything and run in as a one single project. This is what I want to say, because Webpack has nothing to do with the technology. What it does is it will receive the code, go to through the dependency graph, read all the files, make the bundle and give it to you. That's it. So when it give it to you, it will be plain JavaScript code. So that's the reason it has nothing to do with any kind of different technologies and all. Code linting and formatting, this is very important. Like you all might have heard about ESLint and TSLint. TSLint is mostly related to TypeScript, and ESLint is also. These are all linting tools. What they do is they check the coding standards. You can check they can check the potential errors or code style or whatever. How I use this in our project is in one of the project. I wanted my developers not to write the console log statements. Okay. So I wrote a rule. There is a Husky plugin actually, which I imported. I use that. And before committing, every time whenever I used to run npm start, it used to stop the developer saying, okay, there is a console log statement. You cannot commit this or you cannot run the code. So this is how we can implement. Actually, this is a very big horizon. I'm just giving you one example, but I'm telling you this Webpack can also be used for making sure your code is correct and quality code quality also can be maintained here. So yeah, so this is I already told this point, not allowed to commit code. Like if you want, if your developer wants to do git add dot, and let's say there are files wherein console log statements are there, or some code smells are there also, it will not allow to commit if you properly use this Webpack plugin. There are some plugins for that. Okay, so on the left side you can see this is a monolithic architecture which is history now, almost actually, because most of the companies are jumping into microservice architecture as a backend actually. This is very popular, you all know. And micro front-end architecture is for the front end, wherein different repositories are there and different people are using this one. Okay. So monolithic architecture, you all know that everything is in the single place. Database layer is there, business layer, code is there, application logic there, images is also sometimes on there. I mean, people do not use any kind of cloud services like S3 or CDN or something. So this is kind of a monolithic architecture. What is microservice architecture is for a backend like Node.js, PHP, Java, .NET, whatever. There are different service, one service for one particular responsibility, like user management, different service, payment module, different service, whatever. Okay, so micro front end is also same, but it is for the front end. Like if there are user related things, user login, user logout, user forgot password or whatever, my profile, edit profile, one microservice, my micro front end, sorry, related to different thing like payment module, you can say, or any other like appointment scheduling or something. So everything is different. This is what I wanted you all to know about difference between monolithic architecture, microservice architecture, and micro front-end architecture. Okay, so this is the micro front-end. What I wanted to say is here actually you can consider that this code is written in React.js. It is a team. The name is cart. This is the different team website, and you can consider this is written in the Vue.js. You can consider this is written in the AngularJS. So you can have this kind of structure actually, different programming languages, and you can combine it using Webpack and run as a single website, seamless website. And you can even put this kind of code into S3 bucket also, which is a dumb server. It's not EC2, right? It has no kind of any no server is there, right? It is a static thing, but you can make it run on that server also, S3, and you can obviously run in on EC2 also, EC2 instance also, or any Nginx server. Okay. So now let's start, but this is the quiz actually. I already told you in the beginning that I'm going to uh, ask you a few questions to make this session interactive. Only I don't want to speak actually blindly. Okay. So what is Webpack? What do you know, guys? Like, what do you understand by it? I told you the definition on the first page itself. If anybody can remember, unmute yourself and tell me.
Webpack is a bundler. It bundles all JS files into one JS file as a
Nice.
bundle.js.
Nice. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I wanted to give you option, but it would be very simple for you. That's why I did not give these options. And this is the answer. Correct answer actually. It is a Webpack. Webpack is a module bundler. It bundles JavaScript, it bundles CSS, and give it to you. It creates a bundle and give it to you in a different folder, whichever you will configure. Okay. Again, very simple. This is very simple question. I think everybody can answer. Browser can run JavaScript code directly. Is it true or false?
JavaScript code runs directly true, but it's a TypeScript. It's
TypeScript,
false.
sorry. TypeScript, sorry. Yeah, it's false. Correct. It's not. It will not be able to run TypeScript code directly. It will not be able to run the React code also directly on the browser. So it needs a transpiler like Babel or TS. Sorry, TS. TypeScript compiler to run this, and for running the React code, it needs a Babel compiler. Okay. Uh, yeah. So let's move on to the next topic. I hope until this we are good. We understood what is Webpack, and I will tell you how to configure it, how to make use of it. And now I am switching to the another topic so that you understand like what we are going to achieve after this session. So I want to talk to you about the micro front end actually. What is micro front end? It is same. It is a copy of microservices. What is for the backend? Okay. So microservice what happens in the microservices? There are different microservices in the backend, different people, different repositories, different APIs, different endpoints, and everything is different, right? Similar thing is in the front end also. Different repo, different CI/CD pipelines, different port numbers, different servers you can implement, you can do. And there are different deployment strategies also. It is not that only one strategy is there to deploy, but you can have different subdomains, or you can have only one server. Very complex architecture you can use for deployment. But micro front end is the architectural pattern for building modern web application by decomposing a large front end application into smaller self-contained and loosely coupled micro applications. So let's say user module is there, appointment module is there, different modules are there. So these all modules will be differentiated in a micro front end, and there will be one very common thing will be there. This is very important. This is called as container. Okay, so it is coming in next slide, but I am just telling you in advance. This is the heart of the application, the container, which will play with everybody. That will be the heart of the application actually. Okay, so so each micro application like user, appointment, payment, whatever card or something, it will be having only one responsibility. It will not look at other feature, other micro frontend or something. It will just work on its own thing, and it can have all things separately like CI/CD pipelines, repos, Git, folder structure, and everything. So one micro frontend can have multiple micro applications, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, any number. Okay, any number of programming languages can be there. Okay. So this is what I already told you. So that is the work. Each micro application is responsible for a specific domain, and each micro application allows us to write the independent code actually. That's why independent development is possible for each particular repo. So one micro frontend is considered as a one project. So you have to think holistically actually. You cannot see everything as a one project, but you need to think that one particular repo or micro frontend as a project. In few, there are some few strategies wherein like monorepo, wherein you have to bundle everything. But I don't want to make this class very complex actually. That's why I don't wanted to speak the complex things. I want you to understand when you go after this class, you should feel that, okay, I learned something today, which is really very hot in the market. They are loosely coupled actually. That means these micro frontend generally do not speak to each other. If they want to speak to with each other, or they want some data or something, they will speak to container. Okay, this is very important, guys. Remember this. And then scalability. So what scalability means in real world is, whenever you want, it should be horizontally or vertically scalable. That means any number of requests, any number of traffic, it should be able to handle. So let's say you are one of the micro front end is having, you can expect that on this page there will be so much traffic. So you can provide more RAM to that particular thing, or you can do so many other things also. This is what I wanted you to explain. So it can be a modular, and you can scale it as you want, like a cloud things, and they can integrate with each other, and like a different micro frontend can be integrated with each other, and container will be there in this central place. Continuous delivery. As I said, this is very important aspect in any web application or mobile application. Like what is supposed to be done is whenever we write any code, our client or our QA team or somebody wants to see that how it looks like, and they want the delivery, right? So we can have separate pipeline for each particular micro frontends, and everything will go in that pipeline. For example, if you commit the user, you click that YAML file, or you have some strategy to deploy, it will only move the content related to user only. This is what a separate thing. Again, payment related stuff, this will go separately. This is what I wanted to say. So it doesn't mean that you have to deploy everything every time, because if you holistically see, everything is a one project, but you have to see that one particular repo as one project. This is what I want you to understand. So you can you have to break down that monolithic architecture, like a monolithic thing, into smaller manageable parts. So how to break down how many number of micro frontends can be there, like that totally depends what we think at the time of decision. but make sure there should not be so many like 150 or something, because it is going to be very complex, guys. It's very complex thing. Don't try to do very complex things. Try to have minimum like 5, 6, 7, 8. It's too much actually, you know. There are some drawbacks also actually, which I want to just tell you in one line. We have one experience wherein we started all the 9 micro front ends in our local system. Our local systems are very heavy, as you all know, 16 GB RAM, 1 terabyte hard disk and all that stuff. But still, when I started all the 9 repos, my system got hanged actually in my local system itself. So for it, there are 9 different servers are running on my system, right? So that's why I will not, suggest to have many number of things. And yeah, so this point mentions that incremental migration means what? Gradually you can write the code, you can break the monolithic architecture, and you can divide anytime. Like let's say you have created one micro front end at one point of time. After in the next month or proper planning, you can add remove the code from one micro front end. If you think that this is growing a lot, you can break and create another one also later. And each micro front end works in the isolation actually. They are not related with each other except the container, which I said, right? So that is very important to know. And as I already said, deployment is independent. So each micro frontend will deploy independently. So the advantage is like they promote modularity, scalability, and maintainability in front-end development by breaking down large application into smaller. Okay, everything is different. That's why it's kind of modular. So if user-related issues are there, QA team is raising. So you can directly go to user and you can work on that, or you can divide one module to one person. Let's say there are 5 modules, 5 repos are there, 5 people, 5 different people. So you can give the responsibility accordingly and make it usable. Okay, so I will tell you about Webpack config file very quickly. It's very simple, don't worry. So the default file name will be webpack.config.js. This does not mean that you cannot change the file name. This is why I'm telling, this is how Webpack understands. So you can make it webpack.infogain.js also, whatever you want. Okay. So all the configuration is in the JSON format. Again, guys, I am saying, focus. I will ask questions about this also. And modules must be exported. Whatever configuration you are writing, it must be exported in order for it to work. And yeah, so import statements are there, like similar React.js or other things. Okay, and there is only one file for the configuration actually related stuff. Okay, so let me tell you, there is one entry point. Now I reach to the heart of the application. Now this is very important. Try to focus what I'm saying. There is one entry point. We need to provide an entry point to the Webpack. What does that mean? Webpack wants a file from where it's supposed to start, so that it can find out the dependency graph. Now, what is dependency graph? That means whatever number of component or different files are dependent in that application. So if you provide one file, like in the React.js, index.js is the common entry point actually. You all know src index.js. So if I provide that src index.js, what it will do, it will go to index.js, try to read that file, and it will include whatever number of files are there, whatever number of components are there. So this is the beauty. It will automatically, you don't need to say, okay, go to this folder and try to parse everything. No need to say, you just need to provide the entry point. Second thing, so I explained this point. Entry point and recursively follows the dependency. Okay. So once Webpack has gone through all the files, dependent component, what it will do, it will generate the output bundler in the plain JavaScript, okay, and put it inside one folder. Now, where it will put? It will, you need to provide the location also. Where do you want that output to? Because Webpack can be used in different way. It is not that always you will always do the bundling. You can do something else also. You can do means there can be one requirement or use case wherein you can only optimize the images and that's it. You don't need to do anything. This is also possible. So you need to provide the output path also. This is what I wanted to say. So the same way we have entry, we have to provide the output path also. And output bundle is created. It is placed in some place which you provide, and you can also provide the default file name also. Okay. Let me show you the exact. Now this is very important and very simple thing. Okay. What I did, what I'm showing here, I have imported something, and this has nothing to do with the actual running thing. Why I need this path variable, because I wanted to find the current path where this file is put, and accordingly create the dist folder. And inside the dist folder, I wanted to put the bundle.js, this file name. Let me explain from the start. Module.export, this is a JSON. You all know, right? I already said it should be a JSON and it should be exported. Number one. Number two, there is an entry configuration. I'm saying go to src and app.js. You can say src index.js. Again, somebody can say src infogain.js. What system will do? It will go to src folder from the current location and go to app.js, and it will try to find the whole files which are dependent in that app.js. So let's say you have included some different components. It will go through all the components. This is what it will do. And then you are providing this configuration saying my output file name should be bundle.js. It can be sam.js, it can be infogain.js, abc.js, whatever. And then you are saying path where you want that bundle.js to put. So this dist folder. So when you run this configuration, guys, what it will do? It will go through app.js, create the dependency graph, means transpile the code, plain JavaScript, and go to dist folder and put it inside the bundle.js. Okay. So this is what this configuration talks about. The screen shows different configuration where is I also wanted you to understand how two entry points work, because there should not be any confusion. In this example, there are two entry points, app and admin. And there are two output files also, by the way. You see here, this is the dynamic variable name inside the square bracket. So what it will do, it will go through this app.js, it will go through this admin.js, it will go create the folder dist if it is not present, and then it will create the file called as app.bundle.js and another file as admin.bundle.js. And whatever dependency graph it got using this, it will create complete JavaScript file and put it into app.js. Why app? Because it is relating to this app, this one. Okay, this is the name for it actually, and it is the dynamic. You can have 10 different configuration and it will run and create so many different output files. I hope this single file and two entry points, this thing is understood by all of you. In case anybody have any question, you can ask me now. Let me take some water also. No question? Let me proceed then. Okay.
I have one question. Here we are configuring only for JS file, for bundling only JS file. What actually bundler do? It bundles multiple SAS file into one SAS file, multiple CSS file into one CSS file. But we are doing only configuration for the JS file and giving the entry path and all. But what about CSS files and SAS files? How it bundles?
It will come into the next slides actually. I have covered that also. CSS, CSS, there are loaders and plugins you can use to bundle all those stuff actually. So you have to give one entry point, which is in such application like React.js, we have to provide the JS only. This is just the entry point, okay? And it will go through each and every files and program which are dependent, and I will show you the configuration wherein it will load the CSS also. Okay, there are loaders. Don't worry, there are loaders. This is not the only configuration. There are so many other points. So this is the simplest one. I just wanted you to understand, you guys to understand. Okay, just stay with me. You will get the answer of this. Now, quiz. What is the default Webpack configuration file name?
Webpack.config.js.
Webpack.config.js.
Good, correct. So you guys are listening to me. Thank you very much. Okay. Webpack configuration is in the which format? Is it plain text? Is it
JSON
XML?
format.
JSON. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's deep dive into loaders and plugins. It is 440. Okay. So loaders, what loaders does is it's there are third-party loaders like Babel. Babel is something third-party to Webpack, right? But Babel has provided a loader which work in a Webpack tool to compile and to transpile the React.js such code actually to JSX code to plain JavaScript also. Okay, so this is a loader for styling. The question which somebody was asking, I cannot see the name and all actually because I don't have that visibility right now. But you were asking about the styling. So here there are some CSS loaders and SAS loaders. So it allows importing and processing those style into your style sheets. Okay, it converts automatically. Don't worry. Because the problem is your browser doesn't understand SAS. It doesn't understand whatever variable you are using in your SCSS files or SAS files. So it has to convert. If it is supposed to work on browser, it needs to convert that. Okay. There are some file loaders, URL loaders, fonts, images, and everything. It compresses. It do so many things. There are some loaders for that also. And it, in fact, it has ESLint code analyzer also, which I was talking about before few minutes. It can analyze TypeScript loader also, convert TypeScript files also. So many things it can do. Okay. So the example I am showing you on the screen is you can write the rules. So don't fear with this. Okay, guys, it's very simple. But what people I have why I'm saying because people ask me this question actually. This is not the first time I'm talking about this topic. That's why I'm saying people fears. Okay, यार ये क्या है? Module dot rules इतना बड़ा complex है. It's actually static thing. Okay, if you see carefully, it's a JSON object and array. That's it. And you have to write in its own format and it will work it in its own way. And let's say there is some error, it will tell you what is the error and how to solve that. And nowadays there is a chat GPT also. You can go and search for the issue and it will help you to fix that. So what I'm coming back to this thing, what I used here is JavaScript, uh, JavaScript, this one, you see .js. I'm saying giving some rule, what it's, and I'm excluding the node modules folder. You all understand why I am excluding, because node module, I don't want it to transpile it actually. I don't need that actually because it's a helper thing, right? And then I am using the loader, Babel loader. You all know what Babel loader does. It transpiles for you and make it workable on your browser. Okay. Now loader introduction is done. I am jumping on the plugins. I will show you the use of this also. Don't worry. Okay, so plugins are also it plays very important role. There are so many plugins actually. They can optimize your bundles, inject some variables. You can have defined plugin for environment variable importing. You can do so many things like HTML Webpack plugin also. So many things. Okay, so you have to instantiate it with the new code, new keyword like we do in JavaScript or we do in the Java, right? We need to instantiate that in order to use that. And it can, so there are some plugins which I'm going to show you. There is the Uglify plugin and Cursor Webpack plugin, which are responsible for minifying your JavaScript code so that it can reduce its size and improve the performance. It removes the extra spaces, it removes the comments, it does all that stuff and give you very small file. Okay. There is the HTML generation plugin for the name is HTML Webpack plugin. But you have to install these plugins, okay, in your application. So it's very simple. I'm going to show you the command also, npm install and this plugin name. That's it. It's very straightforward and you need to import that. Asset management, for minifying your CSS, you have to use mini CSS extract plugin. It will minify your CSS. And environmental injection, which I was talking about earlier, like you have some .env file wherein there are some different environment parameters like web URL or port number or whatever in .env file. You can import those in your Webpack also using this Webpack.define plugin. Even if you don't understand few things, guys, don't worry actually, because it may be possible that you might be looking at this topic first time, so it might be confusing, but try to grab what I'm saying. and what is the use case of Webpack and where we can use that. Okay. So loader and plugins are very, very important. You cannot use Webpack without these actually. Okay. So you have to use this. You need to, as I said, you need to install first actually in order to use the plugins actually. Okay. And you can then customize or you can provide the configuration variables. How to install the plugins? This is this, command npm install, and why I wrote save dev, you all can understand what is the reason of mentioning this save dev, because whatever bundling will happen, it will happen on your local system only. Try to understand. It will not happen in the production environment. Whenever your code will go to production, it will not go and build everything again. Right. Okay. Means everything is there and it will just copy that folder and put it somewhere in the CI/CD pipeline. That's it. That's why I wrote save dev, because I don't want it to give extra load to our package.json file. I hope you know package.json also. I'm expecting that. Okay. And then clean Webpack plugin. I'm not going to tell you all the plugins because it's not possible in limited time, but I want you to understand this. Let's say you have run your code and let me show you how it creates. Okay. How it creates the what it looks like. So it created this dist folder before some time. If you see the date at 2:36, I have tried to create this actually. So it looks like this inside the container. Inside the container, it created dist folder and these many files it automatically created with Webpack. So if you open this index.html file, you will see only one file is included, main.js. I have okay, let me open now so that you understand. Okay. So it is including only one file, main.js. So main.js is here and it will in fact use all these files whatever way it wanted. Okay. So these are the helper files. So this is very important. What I said, even though there are so many files, if you try to open this main.js, it will be kind of, not very straightforward to understand for the people like us. You see this one and it is very big file. I can show you. This is having 588 lines and it has created a code which we cannot very easily understand, right? You see here all this stuff. So what is the output? Like when I ran the code, when I ran the command from this command line npx webpack, at that time it created this dist folder. So this is the thing which we get from the webpack. So what we have to, why I'm telling you, because what we have to do is we have to put these dist folder contents. So these contents are important for us because they are generated by Webpack. And now if you put these contents anywhere on the S3 bucket, on the CDN path, on the EC2 instance, it will run because it's a static content. It's a HTML file and it is including JS file, which doesn't need any kind of Nginx server, and it will start running that. This is what I wanted you to explain. And now you can correlate what I'm saying. Okay, let's come back to where we were actually. Okay. So I was talking about this. Okay, why I told you, because I wanted to explain about this clean Webpack plugin. So what this does is, when let's say you build one time, now what it will do, it will check if dist folder is there, then it will see if it is present, then it will not recreate obviously, and it will rewrite the files whatever is there and put it again. Now again I'm trying to build. What will happen? It will again create and overwrite. So let's say the new overwritten file does not have sam.js file for some reason. So that's old sam.js file will stay forever there. For that, there is a plugin called as Clean Webpack plugin. What it will do, before pushing the code into dist folder, it will clean that. It will remove that dist contents. Okay, so this is what I wanted you to understand. So name suggests mini CSS file is used for extracting and minification of the CSS contents. And this is the optimization of CSS assets. It optimizes. There are some optimization strategy internally does for that, and it is a very powerful thing. You must use that. So quick quiz again. Babel parses SCSS and creates executable CSS on the browser. Is it true or false? So for you can ignore these last two options. Actually, by mistake, they have come here. So is it true or false? Anybody?
It's true.
Okay. Anybody else want to answer? Or they all are agree with
It's a Babel loader that executes.
okay. Yeah, so it execute SCSS also, right?
Okay. Yes.
Yes. Guys, Babel is a transpiler and SCSS is a cascading style sheet. Both things are different. Babel parses and transpiles JavaScript. It creates a plain JavaScript which older browser can understand. It has nothing to do with SCSS actually. SCSS is a different, for SCSS, we have different loaders. So the answer for this question is false. Okay. Which plugin is used for minimizing CSS? Which plugin is used for minimizing CSS? I just in the last slide was telling
Mini
about
extracting.
this. Yeah, mini CSS, right? Mini CSS extract plugin, right? Right, correct. Good. Let's quickly talk about MicroFrontEnd. Actually, because of the time, I have to run fast. Actually, guys, I can give this session for 5 hours also, but the problem is my hands are tightly I have to follow the time also. So what is MicroFrontEnd? I explained this thing. What is MicroFrontEnd, right? Let's move ahead actually. Because we have to. Yeah. So I wanted to talk about this container application. This is very important, as I said. So container application, container. Let's say there are 4 different micro frontend. So there should be one container which should be the heart of the micro frontend, wherein you should be able to handle state related stuff. See, mostly I'm talking in terms of React.js only. Okay, it's not related to plain.js. So when I say so in container, you can also consider the state management stuff because it has to be in the central place. Na local storage you want to see or you want to manage the state in React.js. How you manage? You have to manage it from the central place, right? So if it is if some other repo needs some state variable, so it has to create complete Redux or something, Redux toolkit or Redux or Mobex or any state management library, right? So to avoid that, what we do, we implement that at common place in the container, and from container only it will demand, it will give and back all this stuff. Actually, state management you can say, and so many things like routing also done from the container, because you cannot do routing on all the different repos, because you will understand this in detail, because I don't want you to get confused, but just remember that it should be centrally implementable. Okay. uh, Communication also happens through the container only. Direct generally we avoid, but you can do the uh, repo to repo communication also, micro frontend communication internally by exposing and by showing it, asking for the remote. I will show you the configuration very shortly, so that you understand how micro frontends communicate, how components are shared between 2 different servers. Okay, so it is nothing but a HTTP and WebSocket miracle actually. So HTTP and WebSocket, it communicates through different ports and the subdomains. That is the reason of communicating. But let's move ahead. Styling and CSS, this is very complex to implement in micro frontend, but there are some ways by which we can implement the shared styles or private npm registries. I don't want it to really confuse you using that, but always remember this is very little complex. You cannot have separate styling and CSS on the on the repo. Why? Because your UI need CSS at the development. So you have to either start the container every time. That server should be running every time. Okay, but let's not talk about much. Otherwise, you will be very confused. Build and deployment. I will tell you in detail how to build and how to deploy. So deployment, there are different strategies. Actually, you can work on Nginx server. You can have a mono repo kind of architecture. You can have a subdomain kind of strategy, wherein there is a one server and 4 different subdomains, and each subdomain will communicate with each other and this main domain as a container. Okay, so there are different strategies we can implement on real servers, but on the local server there are different ports. Okay, yeah. So this is again interesting. I'm going to explain, I'm going to show you the example, and this is not only in the PPT, I will show on my real server also. Just stay for 5 minutes. Let's say there is a container micro front-end application, port number 3000. So it will run on this URL, http://localhost 3000. User management port 3001, localhost 3001. This is a port number you all know, column 3001. Appointment 3002, payments 3003. So there is a plugin. This is very, very important, guys. If you want to implement the micro front-end using Webpack, you must use this plugin. Module federation is important. Like you have to use that. What this does is, this does the miracle of communication between two different micro front-ends using the HTTP and WebSocket method. Internally, they communicate actually on the fly. Okay, so it allows the dynamic loading and sharing of JavaScript modules across different applications. How it will do, you will see the miracle in next few minutes. Seamless integration, that's okay. Code sharing, this is why we are implementing. Independent development, I already said. Independent, you can do this independent development. Okay, so different repo, different micro frontends can have different development. I already said. Performance can be improved obviously because there are small portions, small parts. You can implement lazy loading. You can do so many things. Everything is optimized. You can implement in the React.js context, Babu, please. In the React.js context, you can implement lazy loading and suspense kind of stuff so that, if it is, whenever we want, then only we will load that. And it allows us to have the seamless integration. It is a technology agnostic. As I told you again and again, it can integrate everything. React, Angular, Vue, Next, JavaScript, Vanilla, whatever you want. Because at the end, it will be a plain JavaScript, right? So that's why I wanted you to understand that it has nothing to do. Everything has their different loaders and plugins. You have to parse them, write them in the build configuration. It will go through the dependency graph, read through everything, create the bundle and give it to. That's it. Then that bundle you will copy on Nginx or you will copy on S3 bucket through the CI/CD pipeline or manually also. You can try that everything. Even you can do everything on your local server also. I have done that. You can obviously do the scaling and decoupling things. As I already said, everything is different. So a particular micro front-end is expecting a heavy load, you can scale that in any way on demand. Encapsulation, it follows the encapsulation because one micro front-end does one thing, that is okay. But user management want to share only two files, let's say login and logout. Even though it has forgot password functionality, other will not be able to fetch that code. This is the beauty. So you can hide the things, you can share the things, and you can do whatever you want. Okay. Now the quiz time. Which plugin is used for code sharing between different micro frontends? I just said. Which plugin is used for code sharing between different micro frontends? If anybody can remember, is it a difficult name? Guys?
Micro federation.
Module, yeah, module federation. Correct, module federation. Correct. Thank you. Okay. So now I'm talking about the configuration. I'm going very fast, guys. I know because anybody of you might have any kind of meetings, or that's why I'm trying to go very fast. By the way, I have created a YouTube video of 2 hours. If anybody wants, I have explained more detail than this actually. So I can give you the link if you guys want actually. It is free. It is open. I have on Udemy also actually. These all videos I have on Udemy also. Okay, so let's talk about the configuration. This is the sample configuration I am showing you on my screen. HTML Webpack plugin. This is a plugin number 1, line number 1. Line number 2, module federation plugin. This is the heart of the micro frontend application. Without this, you cannot implement micro frontend. And let's see this micro frontend, what it is doing, giving the name to this repo. Let's consider this as a configuration file of one repo. Okay, one micro frontend. Don't get confused. Only one micro frontend. Every micro frontend have one particular Webpack config file. So this is a the name is container, and this remote means this configuration says how many different micro frontends I want in my system. So in my example, I have taken two remote actually. Okay, that means two more remote micro frontends are also there, which are running on 3001 port and 3002 port. So what is this remote entry.js? This is a default, strategy to give naming to the remote files. Actually, you can give any other name also. You can give your name also. Okay. So this is the remote configuration now, guys. Okay. You see here, name is remote one. It is a plugin. Name is remote one and file name is remote entry.js. So this should be similar to this one. Why this one? Because I am configuring this remote one and only talking about the remote one here, this one, right? So remote entry.js file is there. And I want to expose only one component. My component name is button. That's it. So very simple. What container is saying? I want remote code from two repositories. First name is remote one, second name is remote two. What remote one is saying? I will expose only one component because I am the owner, right? And if you want, you can extend this. You can write a comma and you can expose whatever number of components you want. So multiple components you can expose. You can expose everything in one go also, which I have implemented in my project. I have exposed only uh, this one component, which includes all the other component internally. So that way, I don't have to remember or go and change the setting every time. Okay. So explanation, I have already explained this just now, that name represents the name of micro frontend. File name specifies the generated remote entry file. Exposes variable defines that what I want to expose with the outside world. Purposely I am giving, right? I'm giving permission to expose my button component. This is what. So quiz. What is keyword to configure the remote repo? And guys, by the way, anybody wants to ask any question, let me wait for 10 seconds, 20 seconds. If you have any question, you can ask me now. No questions? Understood everything, guys? Okay, so what is the keyword to configure remote repo in Webpack config? Anybody remembers? Yeah, I understand. This is not very straightforward to remember. And you don't need to remember anything. Everything is available on Google and ChatGPT. Okay, so you need to just understand the concept, how to use Webpack and where to use Webpack. Okay, build and deployment strategies to build. As I said, separate Webpack configurations for each micro frontend you must have. Otherwise, it will not work actually. But it can work in different strategies also, I think. But the strategy that I am talking about, it is not possible because I'm running everything on different ports, right? And one port means one server. As I said, every configuration file will have entry point, output path, expose and exposes option. Exposes are optional, remotes are optional, rollers are optional, plugins are optional. Okay, so all these things are optional actually because you may want to expose something or you may not. You may be not interested in exposing. You may want remote or possibly you don't want any remote. You just want to expose, right? So all these combinations, permutation combinations depends on your project requirement. Okay, so Webpack configuration, I'm telling about there are two micro frontends. Before that, let me show you very interesting stuff on my local system. Okay, let me show you. This is the real micro frontend which I'm going to show you right now. One of the micro frontend running on 8084 port. Okay, and this is real code. I can change and show also. And this is the remote, by the way. Okay, 8084 remote port. I have purposely mentioned so that we all can understand. If I click on red, it will be changed to red. Just a small demo. Okay, this way. And this 8082 is a container. I have mentioned here container or host. So container is also called as host. Okay. So what I did is let me reload actually. So this portion, look carefully. This portion is coming from this repo. Means this similar same to same code is here imported actually from there. That means 8084 has exposed this particular file and 8082, which is a container, has imported this. And this is coming from container, this is coming from container, this is coming from remote. I can show you the code also, guys. Okay, so let me change view at 504, right? It is 504 PM IST. So this should be reflected there, right? You see here, that means I am showing you the correct code, correct? You got it. So this is coming from the container, and footer is also coming from here actually. And here, if you see Hello React app, this is the remote. This is the remote. You see, it has gone. Again, let me undo. Go there, it will pull them. You got the point, right? Because this Hello React app, what I am doing, this Hello React components, Hello React, I am getting. And what is this component Hello React app? I am going to this one, and what is this? I will tell you. This is the name of. Okay, let me show you that. First of all, this is the remote. Okay, I don't want to hide anything. Yeah. So here, if you see, the name is Hello React. I told you about the name. This is very important, guys. Huh? Hello React is the name, and this is the placeholder. Always understand, always remember these two things. Name is important, number one. Number two, placeholder is important. If you want to import or export, whatever, this particular this particular thing, Bootstrap, okay? So you are giving a name, because file name can be very big now. So you can give a placeholder name, and this placeholder name will be referenced by the container or the importer. So this is exposing, and this is importing. Hello React, you relate this. This is the name of remote, and this is the placeholder. You got the point, right? Even though it is complicated, not understanding, don't worry, guys. Just understand the concept. Because when two things communicate with each other, they should have the reference. Now, how it will work otherwise? And now you can also expose different things also. For example, give the comma, Hello React, or let's say another repo, and write Bootstrap 2 or something, whatever. So what it will do, it will expose two components. One is Hello React by the name of Hello React app placeholder, and another will be by the name of another repo. Now, one very simple question. I want somebody from you to unmute and tell me, let's say my container wants this code, Bootstrap 2 related code. So tell me what will be the, from where I need to import in my container. Guys, confusing? That means it is going to be very complex.
It remotes we have to.
Yeah, right. Well, but by what name? What, like, okay. Let make me, I will make very simple now. I wanted Hello React app. From where this word came? From here it came, right? Hello React app. This one. Guys, it's very simple. मतलब पहली बार मैं भी बहुत पागल हो गया था. But it's very simple. यहाँ जो placeholder होता है.
Another
Yeah.
repo name.
Yeah, right. Agree, Dhanaji. We have to write another. But what I wanted is, I wanted to get the name from you. So let me tell what I was telling you. Like, if I want this particular component in other container or host, what I will have to write? I will have to write this one, Hello React / another repo. उससे मुझे क्या होगा? मुझे ये मिलेगा. This is what I wanted to explain, because मैंने देखा है 90% जनता यही परेशान होती है. They do not understand कि यार ये attachment कहाँ से हो रहा है, मैं कैसे समझूं कि मतलब how this is going to be sharing between. So the name of the container, the name of the module federation stuff, and this is unique always. Okay, if you created Hello React here, you can have different over there in other micro frontend. So Hello React / Hello React app will give you this code, this component. Okay, and hello React slash another repo will give you this component. Even though it is confusing, don't worry, but I want you to understand how micro frontends communicate, how they talk to each other. Dekho, now both things are working on different ports, guys. One is working on 8082, another is working on 8084. Still 8084 का पूरा code 8084 पे जाके बैठा है यहाँ पे. So isn't this the miracle? Internally, WebSocket and HTTP through it has gone and it has received the code and showing him here. I will show you one more thing. Now I am going to this side, remote side, and changing at 5:10 p.m. Now see the miracle again. Now I am changing. It is updated here, right? Changing at 5:10 p.m. This is the remote, guys. Always look at here. This is the remote. Now here it is not updated. Why? Because page is not reloaded and it don't know internally. हमेशा तो जाके polling नहीं करता बैठेगा कि कोई refresh हुआ है क्या. But as soon as I refresh, it will pull this latest code from the remote. You got the point, guys? It is pulling this code here. So this is the beauty. This is the what actually micro frontend. This is very small use case actually, but we have created very big project using this and deployed using the CI/CD pipeline also, guys. It's very interesting and very hot topic. Feel free to ask me any question. So I hope you guys at least understood and can relate now. Any question, guys? No question. Overwhelming हो रहा है क्या? Friends? ज्यादा मतलब जरा ज्यादा ही कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो गया क्या?
नहीं ठीक है.
नहीं, because you know पहली बार मुझे भी पता था सिखाते टाइम. That's why I am showing the example. I am showing you the code. I am showing configuration files. I am trying giving my effort so that you understand. And ऐसा नहीं कि आज जाके कल ही आपको implement करना है. 2 साल के बाद भी करना पड़ सकता है, 2 महीने के बाद भी करना पड़ सकता है. बट ये कंसेप्ट पता रहेगा ना तो आप एकदम अपडेट इसमें आ गए, राइट? ओके, सो लेट्स प्रोसीड क्विकली. ये तो वो है जो मैंने आपको अभी दिखाया है, webpack config.js. I have given separate name, microfrontend 1, microfrontend 2, and then I'm calling some loader. This is the sample which I have shown there. I have shown kya? Let me show you webpack there. Yeah, I have shown this one. So this is a real config, guys. This is my real configuration file. 8082 means what? It's a container or host. कहाँ से पता चलेगा? यहाँ से पता चलेगा, नेम से. It can be anything else also. ऐसा नहीं container होगा. It can be your name. It can be host also. It can be whatever you want. And everything is configurable. Everything. You can change the public path. You can provide the different entry. You can do many things actually. And in this configuration, if you see clearly, carefully, मैंने build कुछ नहीं किया. मैं run time कर रहा हूँ. This is very important terminology in this world. There are two terminologies. One is run time. One is build time. So what I am showing you right now is the run time. Run time क्या होता है? अभी चालू लाइट है और मैं वायर चेंज कर रहा हूँ. That means सबडोमेन मेथड में जब आप काम करोगे या पोर्ट सिस्टम में काम करोगे तो रन टाइम में काम करोगे. लेकिन बिल्ड टाइम में जैसे बात करूंगा ना, तो बिल्ड टाइम में क्या होता है, थोड़ा कोल्ड होता है. वो कोल्ड मीन्स व्हाट? इट विल क्रिएट अ फोल्डर लाइक दिस. कहाँ गया वो? dist फोल्डर इज देयर. लेट मी शो. दिस इज अ बिल्ड टाइम. बिल्ड बना के रखता है एंड बाद में कभी तो आप उसको एग्जीक्यूट करते हो और वो स्टैटिक पकड़ के रखता है. दिस इज द बिल्ड टाइम. दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कंसेप्ट. मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल डजंट अंडरस्टैंड actually, but I think so many things I have covered and I don't know if it is overwhelming or what. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so to run this webpack, you have two different methods. One is you can directly run using npx command without installing webpack. You have to use the npx command, or you can integrate this command into your package.json also, and your package.json जो स्क्रिप्ट्स के अंदर है वहां से इट कैन रन webpack command also. But don't get confused. You can run this way also. Whenever you run this, it will do whatever is written in the configuration file. Let's say you wanted it to minify CSS file, it will only minify and keep it somewhere so that you can reuse that. If you want to build some compile some JSX code, React code, na, you have to use the loader of React. You have to build that and provide the output path. It will create that bundler and provide it wherever you want it. Okay, so this is how you can use the Webpack. And okay, so I think I have covered all these things which I am showing on the screen. Yeah, so ये भी मैंने आपको दिखा दिया remote minification and bundling. It's very simple thing actually. I already shown that there are plugins. You have to use this kind of plugins, cursor plugin, CSS minimizer plugin, which are there for minimizer. So you have to install it as a save dependency, and you have to use it in your Webpack configuration. Call it as a new keyword. As I said, plugin को हमेशा new keyword से call करना पड़ेगा, and then you can use that, import and use that. You see here new keyword, cursor plugin के लिए new बनाया, object बनाया, and you are using. So it will minify your JavaScript. This CSS minimizer will minimize your CSS. But before that, what is done is cursor plugin को require किया है. देखो पहले उसको लिया है and minimizer plugin को भी लिया है. अच्छा, इसके पहले क्या किया वो भी तो मैंने दिखाया आपको. इसके पहले आपने उसको इंस्टॉल किया. So 3 things. Number 1, install first of all. Number 2, import, and number 3, use it. This is the very simple approach which we developers, front-end developers, always do, right? Okay, so this minimize true variable is there, which will make sure it will minimize for us. There are different configurations. Again, so many things I don't want to go into detail so that, again, I don't want you guys to get confused. Bundling मैंने आपको बताया, फिर भी 1 मिनट में बता देता हूँ guys. Bundling क्या चीज है? Entry point दे रहे हो आप, वो entry point पे जा रहा है, and after going that, it will walk through all the files, all the dependent files which are there in reference in the index.js files. From index.js, it goes to app component. Let's say app component is importing 10 different components. So what it will do? It will go in a graphical method like whatever, and then create a bundle and put it on the dist folder में bundle.js नाम से बनाएगा. That's it. Okay. Entry and output. Run Webpack. I have shown you this how to run npx command. Integration with React.js. Very quickly, I will show you guys. Set up the React project. Okay. Install the Webpack and Webpack CLI as a save dependency. This one, save development dependency. And you have to use the loaders. Like if you see here, Babel loader is used here. And what it will do, you see here in the text, in the test variable, what I have done, .js and .jsx file only it will compile. It will transpile, okay, and it will exclude the Node.js, node modules folder. This is what I wanted it to do. That's why I'm writing these rules, and rules can be 1 or more. 0 rules can also be there. Don't worry. ऐसा जरूरी नहीं कि there should be rules. You have to export it, as I said earlier, and whenever this configuration will run, it will go to index.js. Again, it will transpile and go through, search for JS file and JSX file only. It will not, compile TS files. Understand this, because Babel loader is not supposed to read and transpile TS file or CSS file. Or if you want to, convert the CSS files, so style loader and CSS loader, these loaders are used here. So, okay. I hope things are very simple. I am showing you the real configuration also. I have copied this from my files actually, guys. Okay. And command is obviously I have shown you in px webpack this so that it will run and do something for you. Challenges. Now this is the last section, guys. बहुत चैलेंजिंग होता है एक्चुअली. माइक्रो फ्रंटेंड इतना स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड नहीं है जितना मैंने आपको 1-1.5 घंटे में समझाने का ट्राई किया. There are some challenges related to state management, sharing, routing related stuff. कुछ प्रॉब्लम आते हैं. डिप्लॉयमेंट में बहुत सर दर्द होता है. But at the end, whenever you get the output, it is really worth. And when I first time learned this Webpack, I learned this Webpack actually 2 months back only, not very earlier. So, it's very new to me also, but I have gone through very detailed. I have created some videos and uploaded on my YouTube channel also. I fall in love with Webpack because it has so much power. It is very powerful stuff. Can do so many things. You can achieve almost impossible stuff which you can do in your tech stack. So try to explore this again, whatever I have tried to explain you. So first challenge is configuration is not that straightforward. You cannot remember the syntax and all. This is one thing. So many plugins, so many loaders, but help is there. Don't worry. So much help is there. Build performance while building it takes time. Depends on how many files it can take time, but don't worry, not that much. It can take 5 minutes, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, or something like that. So don't worry, because what it does in build, I keep telling you what it does in build. It goes to entry point, transpiles, goes through all the dependency graph, transpile, create the bundle, put the bundle for you. So इतना सारा जब वो काम करता है, it takes some time, right? And this is only one use case. It can go through image compression also. It can do other things also, right? It can it can integrate with third parties also very seamlessly. Okay. But if there is any missing dependency, it will make you cry. So, and one of the biggest problem with Webpack, very biggest problem which Webpack developer or developer like us faces. You have some console log, you go and you try to read it. It will land you on the Webpack file, which I shown you before few minutes. ये जो main.js मैंने आपको दिखाया था ना, like this. You will not understand what is going on here, but it will show you this file because it is running this file on the browser. Now your headache increases. How will you find out what is the problem? It will say something else which you will not realize. It will tell you the line number 145 has some problem, whatever problem it will tell you. But this problem, this file, you don't know, like this transpile file, you never go and see. This is the biggest problem I have encountered while working with Webpack. Asset management, actually, asset management is there. So images, fonts, CSS, it can manage very properly. Okay. Debugging is quite difficult, as I said. Guys, you have to stay with it because we don't have any other option. It is challenging. I can say this is challenging. You have to, be very smart in order to, we struggled a lot. We are struggling now also. Not that much, but it may give you different hint also. This is the problem actually. And version compatibility का issue भी आ सकता है कि one repo have one version, second repo का second version. It can break some things because after all, it is compiling every repo and giving you in one bundle or different bundles, and you are taking all the bundle and putting in one place like a server like Nginx. So कैसे करोगे आप? How will you do that? So this is what I want to say. So this can be a challenging scenario actually. Learning curve is much more actually. It was not much more for me, but a newbie can struggle actually. I can say I'm not saying that not more because I have given so much time actually. I have given a lot of time on Webpack. I did so many things using that. I created a project, a very big project. That's why I'm saying that. Because unless you practice, you cannot say that I know that and. So the last point itself is saying you have to invest time in learning, understand concepts, configuration options, and understand the best practices also, guys. So this is what I think I landed on the right time. 7 minutes are remaining. Thank you very much, guys. You guys are here staying with me. I still see so many people. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. I will be very happy to answer. Because I understand before speaking, I know that this is not a very straightforward topic actually, and there can be some hiccups, some difficulty in understanding. But I understand that few of you guys can give answer means I'm going in the right direction and you are grabbing it correctly. So I'm stopping. You guys can ask me any question you want. Or Ashutosh sir, you have any questions for me?
No, so thank you so much for giving your valuable times to this
Okay.
event. Just one request. So please come on camera, everyone, so we can take one photograph. Hello. Hi, everyone. Hello.
They are preparing, I think.
Yeah, please come. Just 2 minutes, give 2 minutes. Please come on camera, everyone.
Yeah,
So we can take,
Raj is there. Dhanaji is there. Yeah, so Dhanaji, Raj, was the session fruitful? You understood at least something? You are on mute, Dhanaji. I can see.
Yeah. Sorry. We understood the concept, so we will dig into code more. So that it was good experience in the training.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
by the way, this was not very simple concept, friends. I'm very happy and really thankful to you guys that you stayed up to this point actually with me. I'm really thankful to you guys because
Thank
इतना bounce मारने के बाद में I was thinking यार कोई बचेगा या नहीं आखिरी तक. Okay. Yeah. So you can take the snap, Ashutosh.
Yeah, I have taken. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, friends. Anybody can have any
Thank you.
question or anything, you can ping me separately also. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Shall we stop or we shall wait
Yeah,
for questions
yeah.
because
Yeah, anybody have any questions? I think we
no.
are good. Yeah.
We are good. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, okay.
Chalo then. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. So we have last activity, guys. Spin the wheel. So please join and enjoy.